During 2 horrific marriage splits, a life-threatening battle with malaria and the brutal end of her US TV career, it was easy to wonder if Cheryl would ever find happiness. But after settling down with One Direction star Liam Payne and giving birth to baby Bear, the child she worried she would never have, the 34-year-old is finally content. In her first interview since starting a family, the former Girls Aloud star smiles, then tells me it changes your life completely, but in the most amazing way. But I've had the best 6 months of my life. Really. Sitting beside her frenemy Simon Cowell in a villa near Nice in the south of France as the pair reunite for the X Factor, Cheryl admits a lot has changed in both of our lives. Simon, 58, says, I said that to Cheryl. I said, imagine us having this conversation 3 years ago. It was like, yeah, right. Cheryl has taken a sustained break from the spotlight, becoming virtually reclusive after falling pregnant. It wasn't an easy experience. Adoring Liam with newborn Bear, Cheryl is back sparring with her old frenemy Simon Cowell, joining him in the X Factor Judges' Houses show. She admits, I hated being pregnant. A lot of stuff went on and I just didn't enjoy it. But now as a mum, she doesn't have the same sort of fears about being in the public eye again. Cheryl says, I didn't stop for 14 years, literally on the roller coaster. And then when I got pregnant I thought, right, I just don't need this stress. So I relaxed. The X Factor's Simon Cowell and Cheryl book mansion in France for Judges' Houses. Cheryl is loving being at home with Bear, but has plans to record more music. Glam mum Cheryl stuns in new campaign for L'Oreal. It's been actually over a year, but it's been perfect for me because it's reset the mind frame. And I feel actually better coming back. I feel more relaxed. I just feel I've sat into my own skin. I feel so good. A big part of that has been the influence of 1D heartthrob Liam, 24, whom she calls a wonderful man. It was Simon who played Cupid, bringing the pair together at the final of the X Factor in 2014 as it became clear Cheryl's marriage to Frenchman Jean-Bernard Fernandez Versini could not be saved. I ask Simon if he claims credit for the relationship and he boasts proudly 100%, just call me Cupid. The ex-Girls Aloud singer calls Liam, 24, a wonderful man. The couple sizzle in a sultry selfie. Cheryl and Liam Payne name their baby boy Bear after a week with the newborn. Cheryl concedes he did nudge. And, honestly, I would never, ever have imagined it could be this. When I bring up the name of Cheryl's son Bear, Simon feigns shock and interrupts by saying, what's his name? Hang on, what's his name? What's Bear short for? Cheryl quickly responds, unbearable, before explaining the rationale behind the unique name. She says, I always loved the name. And the midwife always used to come in when he was little. He used to, like, grunt, and used to go, there's the little bear, there's the little bear. And it stuck. It's just his name and I wanted a unique name. The Sun's associate editor Dan Wotton joined Cheryl and Simon Cowell for an exclusive chat in Nice. Just call me Cupid. Simon is claiming 100% responsibility for bringing Cheryl and Liam together. Return of Cheryl teased in trailer for Judges' Houses episode of The X Factor. When I spoke to Liam earlier this year, he told me he had left the final decision up to Cheryl. Secret revealed. Cheryl reveals how she snapped back into shape 6 months after giving birth. She says of his decision, we carry them for the 9 months, we give birth to them, and I think it's only fair, but we did have a discussion, like lengthy. He didn't have a name for, like, 7 weeks. But Simon isn't finished needling Shay yet, asking would you want to go to school and be called Bear? Cheryl answers, well, would you want to be called Arthur or Simon, or one of those common names? Cheryl took a sustained break from the spotlight, becoming a virtual recluse while pregnant. Despite looking positively blooming in this photo, Cheryl admitted she hated being pregnant. Louis Tomlinson admits he was shocked when Liam Payne first hooked up with Cheryl. Simon shouts yes, 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 and then admits he nearly named Eric, his son by Lauren Silverman, after himself. He reveals, do you know Eric was going to be called Simon? I was going to write until the end, then someone said you just can't do it. I was quite happy. In fact, I said to him the other day, your name was supposed to be Simon. Do you prefer Simon or Eric? He went, Simon. Maybe I'll change my mind. Cheryl shakes her head and says, not another Simon Cowell, we don't need that. Cheryl seemed to snap back into shape just months after giving birth. Cheryl performing on The X Factor in 2009 despite 2 horrific marriage splits, including her first with footy star Andy Cole. Above, Cheryl has finally found happiness again. Cheryl out of US X Factor, but when I compliment her on that, she responds, do you think so? It didn't feel like that for me. Like, obviously, my whole body changed naturally. But everyone in my family are fortunate like that. Like, my mother put on her jeans the week after she had me in the hospital. One Simon Cowell is enough, according to Cheryl. After Simon's revelation, he almost named his son after himself. About that name, Simon, pictured with son, Eric, has teased Cheryl over the choice of Bear, so some people are just genetically like that. But for me, after 3 months I started working out, 1 hour a day. As for more kids, both are cautiously optimistic. Simon says, well, I didn't plan any in the first place, but I'm glad it happened, so, I don't rule anything out. Cheryl adds, I have no plans for 2 at the moment, but I think maybe one day. It's so lovely. And I grew up with siblings. Simon goes on, I said to Cheryl on the plane, you don't realize you can love somebody as much as you love your family, your parents. Cheryl showed off her post-baby body with this photo taken just months after giving birth to Bear. Cheryl showed off her toned tum at QPR's Loftus Road football ground, where she supported stars playing in the Game 4 Grenfell charity match. Music video for Call My Name by Cheryl Cole. Cheryl interrupts, or in your instance, as much as you love yourself. Simon says, exactly. And when it happens, it is amazing. TV's most volatile double act instantly connected after reuniting on a private jet flight to Nice. Simon explains, I hadn't seen Cheryl for 2 years, and the funny thing was, I got on the plane and she curtsied. Then we relaxed and it was fine. Cheryl hits the catwalk at the L'Oreal Spring Summer Show Slender. Cheryl arrives for her Paris catwalk appearance. Cheryl makes catwalk debut at L'Oreal Show for Paris Fashion Week alongside Dame Helen Mirren, Irina Shayk, Thailand blonde Obspan Jane Fonda. Cheryl adds, we're bonded. I just got a phone call that said, Simon would love to have you at judges' houses. I would love to do it. It was really that simple. It's natural. I did it for years, so it doesn't feel different. Cheryl isn't planning on rushing back to full-time work, although she is working on a pop comeback for next year. She says it has been so long, the fans are very patient. Cheryl isn't planning on rushing back to full-time work, although she is working on a pop comeback for next year after 14 years of non-stop living in the public eye. Falling pregnant convinced Cheryl to step back and relax, so I'm thinking about it, but I just want more time with Bear at the moment, I'm just loving that, to be honest. But I do have plans, and I am receiving songs and music and stuff at the moment. I suggest it's a tough decision for any new mum to decide when to go back to work. Cheryl replies, I've got the luxury of being able to spend more time with my newborn child, and I think I'm going to take that for what it is. Cheryl has no plans for more kids, but conceded maybe one day. Cheryl, pictured in September, seemed to snap back into shape just months after giving birth. Cheryl Tweedy posts video of herself in makeup lab ahead of launch of her Paint by Cheryl's L'Oreal collection. A lot of mothers have to rush back to work, and I don't think it's really fair, so I'm gonna take time, a few more months, until he's a bit more grown. Cheryl has changed her social media biography to read living in a love bubble. She explains, that's how I felt when I wrote that at the time. I had a newborn baby. Everything was just so beautiful. With Nicole Scherzinger looking increasingly likely to depart next year, I have a feeling Cheryl could make a permanent return to the X Factor. Payne Liam, who is partial to displaying his own six-pack online, above, has claimed credit for Cheryl's post-baby body, by telling how they do workouts together. Liam working out. Simon says, I've missed Cheryl, I have to say. Cheryl has got good taste, and you've got to have good taste to do this job. Liam Payne reveals Cheryl is happy with his toddler, as she says bigger is better. Watch Dan interview Simon and Cheryl on video on Lorraine this morning on ITV from 8:30 a.m. X Factor Judges Houses kicks off on Saturday at 8:45 p.m. Strictly Judge Bruno Tonioli to miss first episode in 15 years this Saturday. Chris Hughes' pal claims he brags to lads about Katie Price. Texts. Price finally reveals 52 Snapchat messages Chris Hughes denied he sent her. Mark Wright's sister Jess defends him over his weird American accent. Jamie Redknapp shows ex Louise what SHES missing in diving challenge.